Stand by to launch FanStream Sports.
3, 2, 1. Let's start.
Hello, sports fans. Welcome to FanStream Sports. Nothing but pure sports. This is the JP Show.
JP, it is so good to hear you back on the air.
Stand by. Now, here's JP.
All right. Welcome into another edition of the JP Peterson Show. Post-Thanksgiving, post-Triple Man food coma. Hope you guys had a great one, as I did. And we're going to look forward to an incredible weekend of football coming up. Some huge games, yeah. Got my FSU stuff working. Nick's got his UCF stuff working. Good morning to you, Nick Geddes from On3 Sports. How are you? How was the trip to the Smoky Mountains?
It was fantastic. Nice little – I got away from social media for 3 or 4 days, which I always encourage people to do if you have the ability to.
How'd you do it?
I just disconnected. I had a hot tub up there in the mountains, had good weather and stuff to do, and good company as well with my wife, Casey, and it was great. But I'm still trying to get back into the flow of work again. It's like you take like a week off from work and you forget how to do everything.
Yeah. A lot of catch up going on for sure, but it's just a weird week. Your normal, normal days work, so checking in on the injury report and reading all the stories, et cetera, et cetera. So now we've been playing.
Right, but I did watch the whole Bucs game at the wedding. Okay, I did watch the whole Bucs game at the wedding.
Well done. Well,
did not let anybody stop me, and nobody said anything.
The wedding or the Bucs game?
Ooh.
Wedding. I saw some pictures. Looked pretty good.
The wedding was a hoot. I like to people watch at weddings. So I had one eye on the game, and I had one eye on all the weirdos that attend some of these weddings sometimes. So I was doing both.
Any wedding crashers? You have any wedding crashers?
We had someone show up very close to the bride at like 5:00, and she's like, I hope we're not late, and we're like, the wedding started at 4, and she goes, no, it didn't. It starts at 5. And we're like, it's over. They're taking pictures. They're wrapping up, and Casey's uncle was like, "Yeah, there's a lot of scuttlebutt inside of like, man, I can't believe she didn't make it." And it was one of the bride's really close friends, and she just completely missed it. But then he was like screwing with her, like, "Yeah, I don't know if you should go in there. There's a lot of people talking about, man, I can't believe she missed the wedding." It was great, and she was scared to go in the entire time.
Did she have a date?
She did, yeah.
Probably her date said, no, that's Central Time, honey. Don't worry. We're good.
Fun times all around.
All right. We got, I'll talk to you about our Thanksgiving fiesta a little bit later on. We've had quite the week, but family's just, to me, family and fun. It's what it's all about during holiday time. So we'll get to that a little bit later on, but people want to talk about football. So let's get into it. This is going to be a humongous week for college football. Obviously, Rob Stone from Big Noon is going to join us here coming up at 10:15. He is up in Michigan, obviously, for the big game, Michigan and Ohio State, which obviously is going to have a huge effect on what happens in the playoff. And I think if you're an FSU fan, as I'm wearing my garb this morning, you got to be rooting. You got to be all in on Michigan, right? You got to be all in on Michigan, I think, because
what's the difference?
I think Ohio State has a little bit better resume.
Oh, yeah, true.
I think it has a little bit better resume. So if Michigan loses, there's no – plus all the dirt that's on Michigan, there is no way a one-loss Michigan is in the playoff. No freaking way. They would have one halfway decent win on the resume, and that's it. So Michigan would be out without question, which would leave if FSU – now, listen – FSU has to take care of their business. There is no givens here for the Florida game. You got a backup quarterback in Tate Rodemaker, who I think is pretty damn good in terms of spinning the football, and I think he's ready to play, and we'll get into that a little bit. But you got a backup quarterback, and you lose a leader at the level of Jordan Travis. You just don't know how this team goes. It could be an incredible rally the troops moment for them, and Jordan has been around the team all week long. So he's going to be around the team. He's going to be there on the field in Gainesville. So this could be a rally the troops moment, or it could be like, what do we do now once they get out there and the guy's not out there? Because he's been taking snaps for 4 years now. He's basically rewritten the entire FSU record book. So you just don't know how they're going to react. I think it's going to rally these guys, but it still comes down to playing ball, right? You still got to throw and catch the football. And is Tate Rodemaker going to make those critical mistakes that cost you ball games, especially on the road? How is he going to react in front of this ridiculous crowd in Gainesville that's going to be – and I thought it might be a little bit more maybe not as high profile, but you just told me tickets are what, $200 a piece for the cheapest tickets?
Yeah, once you factor in the fees, you're looking at $200 a pop to go to this game tomorrow.
For the cheapest seat.
For the cheapest seat.
That's a wow to me, because I thought I've heard a lot of Gator fans, like, we're starting Max Brown. Our defense is terrible. I'm not sure I want to go. So I was like, wow. So Gator fans aren't into it. Maybe it's Seminole fans that are buying up the tickets. I don't know. It'll be interesting to see, because I don't feel a lot of like Gator enthusiasm right now. And now if Graham Mertz was playing, I'm just here to tell you, I'd be freaking terrified, because he had that offense humming. Yeah. Now, Max Brown is not the thrower of the football that Graham Mertz is, and this is a throwing football team. They can run the football. I get that, and he's a great runner, but you're going to have to throw the ball to beat Florida State. And I can see Billy Napier coming up with a very, very, very safe game plan and trying to run the football. But FSU, their defense has gotten so much better over the coast of this year. And if they try and just run the football, you're one-dimensional. You're not going to beat Florida State. There's no way. So I think, in the battle of backup quarterbacks, I think the check mark in the quarterback department goes to Tate Rodemaker without question. He was, he wasn't a super high recruit, and interesting that Tate's dad, Alan, and the Napier family have been coaching together for eons. His dad, Alan, is the coach at Valdosta High School, which is like a suburb of Tallahassee almost. The storied Valdosta program, and Tate was coached by Billy Napier's dad. So very, very interesting. The two families are really, really close. But we had our friend Kirk Coker on the other day, former FSU quarterback who knows Tate, knows the program really well. And he just made the point that he's been in this system, this Norvell system, for 3 years. He's been patiently waiting his turn. He's never thought about transferring once. This is his time. He is ready. How he performs, I don't know. But I will tell you this. He has the ability to spin the football. He's got an NFL-type arm. He's got a bevy of receivers that are ready to go. He hasn't worked with him a lot, obviously, in game-time situations. He came in off the bench last year against Louisville and played really, really well in the second half, really well, and led them to a victory. So I think he's going to be good. I think that makes Florida State the better side. The Gator defense is still the Gator defense, and it's awful. It's awful. So I think Florida State takes care of business in this one, gets a couple turnovers for Max Brown, and they win it, say, 31-14. That's where I'm going with that. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I expect Florida State to win the football game. I mean, full disclosure, before the injuries to the quarterbacks, I thought this was going to be a very tight contest that would go back and forth, because these rivalry games and both teams playing with big incentives, you just never know what's going to happen. And I don't care if Florida is having a down season. It's kind of how you feel about Miami. I don't care if they're having a down this or down what. Playing in the swamp at night on Black Friday weekend is never easy. It just isn't. But with Graham Mertz not being there and the uncertainty of what you're going to get out of Max Brown, I know that Florida can run the football, but Florida State's done well in that department defensively, like you mentioned. And I'll just say it like this. I mean, to me, this is a race to 30. And if you're doing it like that, the reason why I say that is I think Florida State has scored 30 plus in all but 2 games this year, against Miami and against Pitt. And Florida, or their defense, rather, has not allowed a single team to get to 30 all season, FSU. So I think if their offense, which is more than likely to get there even with Rodemaker, and considering the state of the UF defense, I think they could put this game away. They're definitely going to have to get the run game going, I think, a little bit more than I think this year. They've kind of struggled at times. Like, I think the big plays are there in the run department, but just picking up those chunks like 4, 5, 6. I think FSU has struggled throughout the year, and I think that's where things are going to be different, because Tate's not that run threat that Jordan is, obviously. So that's a big part of your offense that you kind of have to just scrap. And then Johnny and Keon, I think both guys are honestly playing banged up right now. That's my take on that. I don't know how you feel about it, but they've had a lot of injuries, both of them throughout the year, kind of playing through some things. I think they're banged up, so I'm just kind of hoping if you're a Florida State fan down the line that you can get enough plays to those guys, because I think that's kind of the blueprint, because everybody's comparing like this situation to like Cardell Jones in 2014.
Right.
Cardell Jones had Ezekiel Elliott to lean on.
Yeah.
And he had all these NFL talent receivers to lean on, right, that were at his disposal.
It's very similar.
Yeah, it's very similar. So that's kind of what Tate Rodemaker's going to have. He's going to have to lean on Trey Benson. He's going to have to lean on Keon Coleman. He's going to have to lean on Johnny Wilson and Jaheim Bell. Like, the talent's there.
Teofili.
Like, there's a lot of guys there. So I don't know if the downfall is going to be as drastic as some people are saying, in the media right now. But again, you have to go prove it, and it starts with Florida.
All right, we'll have more on that as we go through the show. I want to hit a couple other things. Rob Stone from Big Noon on Fox is going to join us, and, of course, the World Cup anchor as well at Fox. So I have instructed Nick Geddes to get his U.S. men's team questions together and World Cup questions together so you guys can talk soccer for a little bit. But we'll await his arrival here. He's got some meetings up at Michigan, obviously, today. So he'll be jumping in the program here momentarily, hopefully. But we got a big Bucs game as well as they go to Indianapolis this weekend. And it's looking more and more like Levante David will not play. And that means Servassier Dennis will get his first start. Got a little taste of it last week, played 17 plays, had a couple of tackles, which was one less than Devin White, by the way. But I didn't know if you saw the Larry Foote interview earlier this week about Devin White. It was like, yeah, we need him to play better. I would like a high volume of tackles from the linebacker position. Yeah, I think we all would like that. And this is where things get really wonky for me. If Levante can't play, this is a completely rudderless defense. Levante has been making so many plays, almost every play on the field between he and Winfield. They're just basically the entire backbone of this defense. And without Levante David, I have no idea where this is going to go. I think Servassier could be a really good player in this league. I don't know how good. He was a 5th-round pick. He doesn't have, incredible measurables in terms of, super speed, et cetera, but or great size. But he's got a huge heart. He's a super smart guy. We saw him in preseason with great instincts, couple of pick sixes in the training camp. So I'm interested to see the guy play. He's not going to be even close to Levante David, though, and that's the problem. So I see this as, if the Bucs can't outscore Indianapolis in this one in Gardner Minshew, I think they're going to have issues. They gave up 7.1 yards per play to San Francisco and a perfect quarterback rating to Brock Purdy. It's a little, you look at the defensive effort. They made some good plays on 3rd down and in the red zone to keep the score down. But basically, San Francisco got whatever they wanted. 7.1 yards per play is just, it's like, are you kidding me? That's like a high school team, a dominant high school team. So I really, I don't, without Levante David, how do they win on defense? And if they don't win on defense, how do they win? I know it's Indy. I know it's Indy. They're not, the greatest team in the world, but right now this Bucs team is a bunch of rookies and a bunch of guys, even the high paid guys that we pointed out since early in the season aren't getting it done. I don't know how they win this game.
I mean, you have to hope that the Colts kind of trend right now continues, because their offense, even with Gardner Minshew, was scoring a lot of points, right? They were like an interesting, fun, average football team. Yeah. Is what you kind of described the Colts at. Well, the last 2 weeks, the offense against, the Panthers, they won 27-13, but they had 2 pick sixes in that game. So they scored 2 touchdowns in that game, I think, offensively against the Panthers. And then against the Patriots, they scored 1 offensive touchdown over there in Germany. So they've kind of bottomed out here against bad football teams. And I don't think the Bucs are nearly as bad as the Panthers or the Patriots or anything like that. But not having Levante David in the middle of your defense, it's like, we know what Devin White looks like next to Levante David. I don't want to know what it looks like when Levante David's not there with him. Right. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it's an unknown to some degree, but not an unknown. I don't think it's going to be good. I'd like to be more optimistic, but I'm just not. And we'll see what happens. But, and offensively, I would like to see this team with a little bit of resurgence. Yeah,
I'm optimistic about the offense. I really am. I think it could score 20, 24, 30 points on this Indianapolis team if they
if they could, the offensive line has been, not good against San Francisco. I think our good friend TC22 pointed out that there were 32 pressures on 40 some dropbacks. I mean, just
they've got
rate.
They're going to have a new left guard and a new center next year, so it's something they could fix this year.
Well, Hainsey's on their injury report this week, so I hope Nick Leverett gets a shot to play this week.
Right, so you're going to have a makeshift, but the offense though, like even against San Francisco, they got down to the 5-yard line twice, and Devin Tompkins can't catch a football in the end zone on a perfect throw from Baker. Ditto for Cade Otton on a different drive. So like those right there. And Baker also had a bad turnover down there on that side of the field. It's like the Bucs moved the ball. I wouldn't say they moved it at will, but they had a lot more success than I thought. I think things are coming together for the offense. I really do. So,
and if they target Evans and Godwin more in the first half, besides 3 targets, then maybe you can.
Chris Godwin. He needs a lot more targets. They figured out now to get Mike the ball. They're starting to do that, but Chris to me seems very underused. Yeah. And I think really because who else on this team is going to make a play?
Well, look at the targets and receptions. I think Chris had 7 targets and 6 catches last game. Mike had 12 and 5 catches. You have a better shot of completing the pass if you're throwing the ball to Chris Godwin. And I've always said this: if I'm Dave Canales, I'm targeting Chris Godwin 12 times and Mike 10 or 14 and 12, whatever per game.
Yeah, I just would stop.
Get more touches.
Yeah, I'm not interested in throwing the ball to Devin Tompkins. I'm just not.
He's got a role. He's explosive. When he gets his opportunity, he's explosive. And the coverage often dictates that Tompkins is going to get the weakest corner. And he can beat the weakest corner, but you got to be able to catch the damn ball when you're throwing the ball in the end zone. And that's the thing about these young receivers. They can get open, but you got to be able to catch the football in the clutch. And if you can't do that,
I just would like to see the offense, like you said.
Same for Cade Otton.
Yeah, I would just like to see the offense. If you can get Mike and Chris the ball at least a combined 20 times, like 20 targets a game to Mike and Chris. And then I can give 6 or 7 to Rachaad White and just feed your best players like that, because Rachaad White's your third best option on your offense. I don't know how many other guys I trust at this moment. If you could do that and spread it primarily to those guys, and they're all going to win their matchups, by the way, because they're all very, very good at what they do, then I think this offense could continue to take another step.
Yeah, let's hope so. It'll be an interesting game. I think nobody will be watching but the people in Indianapolis and Tampa. But they still, as crazy as this sounds, and when I hear this talk, I'm just like, they're not going to win this many games. Every one of their games is going to be 50-50 games, except for the Jacksonville game, which they got about a 25% chance of winning. Now, so you have an average team, which the Bucs are. And 50-50 games, you win 50, and you're not going anywhere. And Mike Bucs Basement here, good morning to you, by the way, says must win ? Weren't we at must win with the Falcons with no Levante to clean up all of what White's horrible play? He's about to be exposed for the awful player he is. Bowles going to sink with the ship. Listen, I think he's already been exposed, quite frankly. But you're right on. I said that Falcons game was the must win of the year. They had to win that game. They win that game. They're in position right now. And the Houston game too. Those were the 2 whiffs that have cost you the playoffs this season. When we look back at this season, that's what we're going to do. We're going to see the Falcons game and the Houston game.
But in a weird way, I can't believe I'm saying this, because the Bucs are an average team, and every time I start to believe in them, they just knock me right down. Like, are they best positioned of the teams in the NFC South to win the division?
Well,
Can I make that argument?
Well, if you look at the schedule, but then you're assuming that they're a good football team.
No, they're not. I'm saying that there's no good
of these games.
I'm saying there's not a single good football team in the NFC South. Let me put that out there. I'm just saying the Saints, to me, and now they got to have Jameis play, obviously, and we'll see what happens there. But the Saints, to me, there's something off. Michael Thomas is out now, by the way. Yearly scheduled tweet there. The Falcons are going nowhere as far as I'm concerned. They're going nowhere, and the Panthers are dead. Like, it almost feels like you're kind of competing again with New Orleans, and you're going to get at least one more game against New Orleans, and I think those 2 teams are going to end up battling it out. And New Orleans is, a game ahead, I think, of the Bucs, but at the moment, the Bucs own the tiebreaker. Right. So I don't know.
They got the next game in.
I'm just saying I can
whatever
merely
that's worth.
make the argument that they are in the best position to win the NFC South, and that's weird to say at this moment. But do I believe that they're going to go and win, 5 of 7 games like people are saying that they're going to be favored in? I'm probably not there yet.
Yeah.
Probably not there yet.
Yeah, I just can't see. You say, oh, they'll beat the Panthers twice. Will they? They'll beat the Falcons up there. No, I don't think they're going to beat the Falcons in Atlanta. I don't think so.
You think they're going to lose both times to Atlanta this year?
Yeah, I do. As a matter of fact, yeah. Atlanta's gone back to Desmond Ridder. Well, they should have been swept by him last year. Let's just be honest about that. When they weren't even half as good as they are this year. I think the Falcons have just screwed themselves so much with this quarterback situation, and Desmond Ridder clearly is not the answer.
Yeah,
but he can beat the Bucs as we saw.
Yeah, and I was going to mention too to that schedule point. I mean, I'm not going to fall into the hype of primetime game on Thanksgiving. There's all these different things people say, but Green Bay will obviously look really good, and you still got to play Green Bay in December in Lambeau,
right?
And they're getting a lot better.
Yeah.
So
if the Lions can't beat them at home.
Like Green Bay's probably going to be favored in that football game.
Of course they are. If the Lions can't beat Green Bay at home, what chance do the Bucs have to beat Green Bay at Lambeau Field? Because if you watch the Lions, they outclassed the Bucs tremendously. And if you watch the Packers yesterday, Jordan Love is getting a hell of a lot better. He's getting better. I thought he was really good yesterday. And the Packers are a decent football team. So look, again, how do you get even 5 more wins out of the rest of the schedule for the Buccaneers? Yeah, maybe 8 wins will win the division. I mean, you got that might play into your favor, but I just don't see 5 more wins. No way. 4 more wins, maybe. But again, look, I look at the Atlanta game. Atlanta, beat the Bucs 16-13 here, right?
Yep.
Atlanta should have scored 3 more touchdowns. And I know you can say, well, they didn't because Winfield knocked the ball out. Well, they didn't because, Ridder fumbled the snap. Yeah, come on. Look, if you watch the game, if the Falcons were the better team, and that's with Levante David playing. We don't know where Levante is going to be the rest of the year, if he's going to be able to play. I know he's an amazing healer and what have you, but I have no faith in this team whatsoever at this point, unless they can go out and play a really good game against the Colts, play a clean game, put 3 or 4 touchdowns on the board, play decently defensively, show me something. These young players got to step up. They're going to be playing with a ton of rookies the rest of the way. I mean, look at the injury report. Carlton Dean's been limited this week. Carlton Davis. Jamel Dean's probably not going to play this week, although you could argue that's not a big drop-off. Robert Hainsey is beat up. Dwarfs has practiced this week, so he should be fine. So we're going to have to, they're going to have to lean on a lot of really, really young players, especially in the secondary, the rest of the way to win games. And that's just not a great recipe in the NFL.
It is interesting, by the way, because James just said, everyone says Indy is winnable. Gardner Minshew will torch this fraudulent defense. No way Bucs win. It's funny. It's like, I'm not going to say no way Bucs win. I think that's silly, but because the Colts are an average football team too. But it's funny how I can still come here and I can say, if someone told me, man, Gardner Minshew's going to throw for 300 yards on the Bucs defense and complete 30 of 35 passes, it's so weird that I can come on here and say, yeah, I can see it. Yeah, I can see it. Like, I just watched Brock Purdy, and I love Brock Purdy, but still, I just watched Brock Purdy have a perfect passer rating on the Bucs.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I could see any quarterback dicing up this secondary right now, truthfully.
Yeah, a perfect, let's say that again, a perfect rating. Perfect. Like
they just make it so easy on every team. They really make it so easy for every quarterback. Yeah. And the one quarterback they had success against was the rookie making his second road start or whatever that they just blitzed the hell out of. Yeah. And had the matchup advantage.
And even when you look at Houston and CJ Stroud, what they did there, everything is predictable. The reason their completion rate is so high against this Buck defense is because they're so predictable. Their coverages are so predictable. You can pre-snap read it and say, okay, here's where I'm going with the football. This guy's going to be open. That's easy quarterbacking, man. It's easy quarterbacking. Any competent quarterback, any accurate quarterback, reasonably accurate quarterback in this league is going to dice you up. And completions just keep the clock running, keep you. It's a killer for the defense, and that's what we've seen all year long.
And can I ask too about this defense? Like, this goes back to personnel. And again, not to go back to the San Francisco game much, but isn't it interesting that against Tennessee, we got to see Marquise Watts for, what was it, 12 snaps, and he had like 5 pressures or something ridiculous like that. He was going sideline to sideline making plays. Yeah. We're being told that he's working Wirfs and he's working Geddes in practice. And then here we go against San Francisco, and the guy plays three snaps. And Joe Tryon Shawinka played like 35, and last time I checked, didn't have a single statistic.
Goose egg.
He was just there.
Egg. Yeah.
And Yaya Diaby, 2 sacks, up for Defensive Rookie of the Week. Yeah.
Yeah. This guy can't get as many snaps as JTS. And they'll tell you, well, there's a lot you don't know about this in practice and, playing the run. And blah,
yeah,
blah.
Didn't he say something like, I was trying to catch up on everything this week. How's he playing the run
35 snaps with no tackles, not even an assist.
Right.
Didn't even fall into anybody.
I was trying to
play in the run.
I was trying to catch up this week on everything Bowles was saying, and I'm like, did he say? I could have swore he said something about it's about understanding the scheme and stuff like that. I'm like, okay, but end of the day, 3rd down, I want my best players on the field, and that guy's Yaya Diaby now. Yaya Diaby is creating pressure more than anybody else you have in that room right now,
without question. And he's a young player; he should be getting 80% of the snaps.
Yeah, that's the thing.
And it should have been that way since week 3, by the way. I mean, don't tell me, if he plays more snaps than JTS this week, don't tell me that, the coaching, they got it right. His time wasn't ready. No, bull crap. This is what Bowles does all the time. He's so slow to make personnel changes. Guys I think it's a player's mindset. When you play the game as a coach, you have a player's mindset. You want to give them passes because football's hard. I get it. You're going to get beat. And he constantly wants to give veterans passes and give them another shot and doesn't want to trust the young guys. Well, your young guys are the better players. And every time this happens, we've seen this with Bowles. It's why he has been such an unsuccessful.
But it's interesting, though. It's weird, though, because I think in the past he has trusted young players, and a lot of them have played early. Like 2019, Jamel Dean was a rookie. Remember, he had to go in there. He had to go in there, but my point is, remember, he got torched really bad in that Seattle game, if you recall. And they still didn't give up on him. They went back to him, and they kept playing him, and he got those reps, and he became a really good corner by the end of the year that had potential, and obviously got paid and everything. Like, I've seen him play guys that are young.
But only when he's forced to, and he talks draft picks.
Right, but it's kind of weird because he said before, and he said this at the beginning of the year, every Super Bowl winning team has rookies on their roster, and they play. So, he says that, but then it's like, why does it wait, more than halfway through the season sometimes to get these guys through? It's just inconsistent. It doesn't sometimes match up with what he's saying. No, I guess is the point.
I totally agree. And to that point, James jumps in, says Scott Reynolds pressured Bowles on Devin White, 3 tackles on 60 plays, and Bowles defended him. With a head coach like this, Bucs are doomed. Yeah, he's been defending him forever. I pressed Todd Bowles on Devin White as well, and he just continues to defend him. Larry Foote at least says, he's got to be better. He's a little bit more candid about it because, how can you stand up there? Bowles, I think, thinks nobody watches the tape. Nobody watches the fact that Devin just can't get off a block, never has, never will, and constantly getting beat in coverage. And by the way, that as I said on Monday, the play with McCaffrey, that's, not only is that on Devin White for loafing during the play and not being in position, knowing exactly. When I saw the motion, I was like, oh, I know where this is going. And
I don't know how many linebackers are making that play, though.
That's a tough play. But again, why are you putting Devin White in that position? Why are you putting Devin White? Why? At what point in practice did we say, okay, if they go this formation and you got McCaffrey one-on-one, did alarm bells not go off to the rest of the defense?
I will say,
wait a minute. Well, that's the scheme. No, that shouldn't be the scheme because you're going to get out-coached every freaking time, and this is what happens in the red zone, especially with Devin White. It's been going on for 4 years. People have been targeting him in the red zone, with backs and tight ends. Come on.
Yeah, it's I hate to harp on Devin so much like we always do, but it's just an every week thing.
But if you have a weakness like that and teams constantly attack it, we have to constantly.
No, that's
my
point, though.
Fix this 4 years ago.
Yeah, that's my point, though. But what bothers me, though, is Devin before, even though his technique wasn't always there, you could always say, Devin, you could tell he loves football. He's running out there like his hair's. He's always been that guy. And that's the disappointing part is the last 2 years, and especially this year when he knows that he's in a contract year, it's like he's decided, well, I'm not going to get injured this year.
Right.
I'm just not even going to engage. And that's when Devin's doing that, he's giving you nothing. So that's the one thing I will disagree with Larry Foote on, and I know he's not going to say that in the public. So about he's not hurting us is what he said. He is. And I think in that building they know it. They're not going to say it out loud, but they know. Every time they turn on the tape, they know 45 is killing you in the middle of your defense.
Yeah, and if you stand up there and say anything different, we know you're not telling the truth, and you know you're not telling the truth. All right, we'll take a quick break. We'll come back on the other side. We'll hopefully rustle up Rob Stone here. He's up in Michigan. Get ready for Big Noon on Fox tomorrow with the big Ohio State-Michigan game, so we'll talk about that. We're brought to you by the Jeeves Law Group. Scott Jeeves, big Gator fan, going to join us in the 11 o'clock hour to talk a little trash about this game. The Jeeves Law Group, that's where you want to go if you have any legal issues whatsoever, been involved in an accident, your car has been totaled. They are the folks to defend you aggressively. It's the Jeeves Law Group, JEEVES lawgroup.com. Back in 3. Stay with us. All fall is here. The holidays are coming, and the Golden Diamond Source will be your trusted jewelry destination as they have been for the past 4 decades. Yes, the Golden Diamond Source has the largest selection of engagement rings in the country, a literal jewelry supercenter with 30 times the inventory of any normal jeweler. You don't have to spend any extra time waiting for them to have to bring something in or order something. Everything is in-house. And if you want to get shopping before the holidays, you can get low financing, start early, for up to 5 years. Looking for a pre-owned Rolex or one of those baller watches? They have a huge selection at the Golden Diamond Source, so go check those out as well. And of course, we always say keep it local. Great philanthropists, Julie and Steve Weintraub. Love those folks. Do so much for the community. So if you got to shop for jewelry, why not shop at the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. JP here for the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group and our good friend Jane Geddes. Folks, simply put, Jane is a former relations at WWE. She also has a law degree from Stetson. So if Jane can drain a 10-footer to win the U.S. Open and stare down Hulk Hogan in the boardroom, you want Jane on your real estate team to not only negotiate the best deal, but find you the perfect home or investment property. And when you work with the Geddes Gordon Group, you become part of the real estate family and get concierge services that include expertly staging, marketing, and preparing your home for sale. Advice on golf properties. Hey, you might even get some golf tips. Many of their clients become friends long after the sale or purchase is completed. It's all part of the deal. So if you're looking for that perfect home or investment property or trying to get top dollar for your home, go with Jane Geddes and the Geddes Gordon Group because there's nobody like Jane. Call 813-485-6808 or go to geddesgordon.kw.com. That's GEDDES Gordon.kw.com or call 813-485-6808. All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we welcome in our good friend Rob Stone from Fox Big Noon. They got, I think there's a big game you got this week. Who's
Little game in Ann Arbor.
How are you, my friend? Good to see you.
Nice to see you. Hi, Nick. How are you?
Good. How are you, Rob? Thanks for coming on. Appreciate it.
Nick's wearing the UCF hat. Is that allowed on this show? Is that all right?
Absolutely. Listen, we very much protect that First Amendment, my friend. You have free speech to talk about Colgate, talk about anybody you want here. You go right. There we go. Yes, sir. Hey, you know what? And it's just fun to have big games where FSU is involved again. And
I agree.
And I got to jump in on that because FSU fans are losing their mind that they dropped in the polls, and I'm trying to tell them just chill out. There's a lot of football left. I know it's just a couple of weeks, but everything is going to be decided in these next 2 weeks. Correct?
Yeah, I agree. This time of the year in college football is always filled with chaos, I feel. Yeah. But if I am a Seminole, I am a little worried because usually the chaos has kind of started already, maybe a week or 2 weeks out. And maybe there's this odd delay this year for some reason on the chaos, but it's coming. We've got 2 more weeks. Things are going to work themselves out. And that first chip that may or may not fall, really kind of depending on how things play out in Ann Arbor, is really, tomorrow with Ohio State, Michigan. But, who knows? Something quirky could happen with Oregon tonight versus Oregon State. Whenever you get those rivalry games, odd things happen. Same thing with Washington and Washington State. And listen, if you're a Seminole, my thought would have been, you probably had a longer stay at number 4 than most were expecting. Washington's resume is really impressive.
Really good. Yeah.
And they just loaded up with, I think it was 3 straight top 25 wins. So in my estimation, just because strength of schedule matters to me, Washington should have been above Florida State a couple weeks ago. No knock on Florida State. That's just what the schedule is. That's just what the ACC, unfortunately, is this year. But they have everything in front of them to sort things out, as long as they don't, trip up in the swamp, and then take care of kind of a sneaky good Louisville team that really is not getting a whole lot of credit in the college football world. But things sort themselves out this time of year, and these next couple of weeks are really going to be fascinating.
Do you feel like when it comes to like the way FSU's playing, and people are talking about, okay, well, Jordan Travis is not there. So I've heard people say, okay, well, now they need to blow out Florida. They need to look good against Louisville, even if they go undefeated. Like, are you on that kind of train? Like, even if they go undefeated, they have to look good in these games and prove that they're still that team, even without Jordan Travis? Because, because Michigan, Ohio State, could you make the argument on one loss Ohio State if they lose by like 3 or something? Like, do you drop them completely out?
It's an awesome question. And those I don't know. That's something I've been posing for a while. I think for Michigan, it's a must win. Yeah. Ohio State, I think, has a very small, window of opportunity should they lose a close one, as you mentioned, in Ann Arbor. But a couple of chips are going to have to fall their way. For Florida State, I do think the eye test really matters right now, because people are curious how good this Seminole team is without Jordan Travis. And let's be honest, the eye test is still at play. Yes, and I know I just spoke about strength of schedule. For me, that matters, but I have no say on the college football playoff committee. And there are some people there who are football, and then there's some people who are, quote unquote, football on that committee. If you ask some of the experts that I happen to work with, right? Yes. So they're going to be watching these games, and they're going to want to see how good is Florida State with the change that happened, that got forced upon them at quarterback. And the fact that the ACC is not the ACC that we're used to, and frankly, that's Clemson. That's a Clemson issue. The fact that Clemson is not as good as they used to be is really pulling down the whole ACC. If somebody else in the ACC had been strong, whether it had been Carolina continuing that undefeated start, or Miami wasn't being Miami like they have been the last couple of years, then I think people might have given a little more value, a little more strength to the ACC and the Florida State's cause. I would be a smidge nervous if I'm Florida State. I do think you need to propel a positive image. And there's no better place than at the Swamp, a road game, a rivalry game. All right, Rodemaker, what are you really made of?
Right.
You can't judge them on what happened last week. So this is the time to get tested. And if he passes that first test, even if that's just, 2 touchdowns and 160 passing yards, get the win, right? That's the most important part, and live for the ACC championship game, and then kind of have that coming out party against Louisville.
As Rob, I think the Gator defense is so bad, and it is so bad, that Rodemaker's he's got a big arm. I think Mike Norvell is going to push the envelope, and he's liked him. He's recruited him.
All right.
I do. Watch, because these kid can chuck it, and he's got some really good receivers out too. He's got 2 NFL receivers, maybe 3, and Jaheim Bell at tight end, and an NFL running back in Trey Benson. It's very, Nick mentioned this in the first segment. This is very Cardell Jones-ish. He was surrounded by Zeke and a lot of great players. These kids are going to the NFL, and Tate's just got to distribute the ball and get it out there. He's not the leader. He's not the runner that Jordan is, but with all these weapons, this offense, especially against the Gators, should be able to put up 40, 50 points. Well, and I think that eye test is important. I agree with you.
Yeah, I agree. And also, if you're a coach, don't overthink things.
Yes. Right.
Urban Meyer.
Which they always do.
Yeah, right. Urban Meyer told me this years ago that when he was at Ohio State, they had a board each year of their top players, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And he would look at it and he'd say, geez, 3 of our top 10 players, I'm just making this up, 3 of our top 10 players are tight ends.
Yeah.
Why are we not using our tight ends more?
Right.
4 of our best players are wideouts. let's throw the ball. Let's get them involved, whether it's in the running game or the passing game. But coaches, I think sometimes you just need to stop.
Yeah.
And if you're Florida State right now, you're like, look at your board and be like, we're good there, we're good there, we're good there, we're good there. We got a question mark here. Well, let's use the good. Let's use the good and have our question mark get comfortable, and use the good to make him even better. Yeah, it seems simple. But what are we doing? You're hanging out at home. I'm in a hotel room.
Exactly.
We're
not getting paid $76 million buyouts for this stuff. I mean, come on. How stupid are we? All right, let's talk about your game there at Ohio State and Michigan. Two of the I'm looking at the numbers like, oh, the two best scoring defenses in the nation. I'm like, well, that's because nobody can throw the ball in the Big Ten. Or is it because their defenses are really good? It's probably a little bit of both.
Yeah.
Is this a defensive football game, or are we going to see, some of these great running backs and receivers like Marvin Harrison Jr. get off?
That's the thing. The great receivers are more in the Ohio State camp.
Yeah.
The running back is kind of a push right now.
Yeah.
Blake Corum, he's got a gazillion touchdowns. They're all kind of like 1 yard, 2 yard, 3 yard, but still that's a touchdown. Donovan Edwards was the guy last year in the game. He went over 200 yards with Corum injured. So to me, the running game is fascinating because this is the first time in the game that Blake Corum is healthy, and he's super excited about it. His last game in the big house. But what people aren't talking about maybe enough is over on Ohio State, Travion Henderson. Over the course of the last 4 weeks, he is almost at 500 yards running, and the touchdowns keep accumulating. He's essentially at a Heisman pace right now. Now, it's easy to say, you can do it for 4 weeks, right? But what he's done over the course of this last month, something has triggered. He missed a couple of games. There were some question marks floating out there about maybe his internal drive to play football. There were some questions about that. But whatever has happened has changed, and it's opened up the eyes of the NFL even more so. And to me, he is a dominant running back right now. He is taking over games. He is letting McCord do what he has to do and not do beyond what he is. And then it goes to the quarterbacks as well. Last year the question was JJ McCarthy. Hey, dude, are you good enough? Like, if the game is on you, are you good enough to be that player? He's been banged up with a bad ankle the last couple of weeks. He says he's good this week. We'll find out. And then it's McCord who's sliding into that question. Like, dude, are you good enough? I think we saw it at Notre Dame. If you ask me, he had one pass late that should have been picked, but he had others where the window was like this, and he's finding the opening. He's got studs in Ibuka and Harrison. Stover is a big time tight end who's going to get picked up, in the first 3-4 rounds easily. But it does come down to this defense. And I do agree with you. You do see these defensive numbers start to shift as the season goes on.
Yes.
But when you do watch these defenses live and you're on the field at that field level, Coach Meyer will kind of hit me every once in a while. And he's like, dude, those are some big boys. We saw it, but we didn't see it at Oklahoma. So there is this kind of off the bus effect of the visuals of these guys. And without a doubt, Ohio State and Michigan do have them. These are big time hosses up front. But to me, the question is, which offense is going to find its groove sooner? The weather should be fine. No wind, no weather. It'll be it'll be in the 20s and cloudy in Michigan. That's what they do.
That's a good day. Yeah. That shouldn't affect the game.
I'm curious to get your take on this because we're expecting this to be pretty tight. Obviously, we know what the stakes are. Is this the game where maybe you start to see the impact of not having a Jim Harbaugh on the sideline, somebody who had outcoached Ryan Day, as we saw the last 2 years?
Yeah, that's something we're going to talk about more. And, Sherrone Moore has done a great job filling in on late notice. And again, this is going to be the 6th game this season.
It's crazy.
Right.
6th game this season. Harbaugh is not going to be on the sidelines. First 3 games and then the last 3 games. It really is remarkable when you think about it. You like, what? This guy has not been here for 6 games. So they're comfortable. Moore enjoys it. But the thing is, Moore is a play caller as well. So at some point, is it too much on his plate?
Yeah.
Managing the offense and then managing some real critical decisions that are going to happen when you're in a game of this magnitude, whether it's a fake or a special teams question or a certain element where we're going for it on 4th, or, what defense are we sending out? At some point, he's going to have a couple things that head coaches need to interject themselves in. And will he be in the right frame of mind? I think he will. but you really only get that through head coaching experience and understanding the moment. And, is it a long one? Is it a short one? Is now the time, the no-brainer to go for fourth at this stage of the game? Or do you sit back and play, the field possession type game? So I do think it will come up. I wouldn't be that stressed about it. And I think it's also a case, Nick, of people like the three of us trying to find little elements to talk about and nitpick and raise some question marks early on.
Rob Stone, former Channel 44 superstar, used to work with Beasley Reese, as I did. That's right. Double force. That's right. Don't forget that. I got to take us behind the scenes because I'm so interested in this. You're there. Big Noon's there. College Game Day is there. Is there a rivalry? Is it Ohio State, Michigan behind the scenes? Like, I love your guys' show. I love College Game Day. I love college football. So I'm watching it all the time. You guys do a fantastic job. You keep it light. You keep it funny, but you inform. It's fantastic. So what is this like for you? This is like your guys' national championship.
Sure.
Is there any rivalry? Do you and Reese Davis chat back and forth? And how's this work?
Yeah, it's funny, because we've obviously crossed paths several times a year.
Yeah.
And we don't see each other. It's crazy. We're in our own little pocket of territory, and they have another region. They have their world that they've established and done an amazing job. And we know who we are. And we lean into being, that bit of an underdog who's going after, the entitled franchise a little bit. And I was part of that team, and I have so much respect for everything that they've done. And they help, make me who I am. So I think there definitely has to be some type of rivalry. We're all kind of wired that way. For so long, College Game Day was in a one-team league. They won their league every year, and then competition comes in that forces you to alter things, to wake up, to maybe reevaluate yourself, and also for us to, self-scout ourselves and them as well. To me, it's no big deal. It adds maybe a little different elements for our marketing people to fight for the people, fight for that land and that terrain. But we're all in it just because we love college football. And I think college football is the big winner, that there's two different shows doing some things that are a little bit different here and there, have different access, have different type of personalities, and to each their own. But overall, I think college football is the big winner, that they have another option right now, and you can just keep looking around, and college football is there. And I'm going to miss it. Our last game is next Saturday, the Big Ten championship game, which lately has been a bit of a letdown. Coming off of Ohio State and Michigan and what everything, is typically at stake in that game. And, no offense to Iowa, but Iowa's waiting for us next week. And, their defense is amazing as well. And I would love to see their offense wake up. And who knows, they might be able to throw a curveball at either Ohio State or Michigan. But, right now, Ohio State, Michigan is our Super Bowl. It's our college football Super Bowl, and there's no doubt about it.
Hey, and how do you handle journalistically the Harbaugh thing? This has got to be really delicate as a TV partner, and then being a journalist. I mean, there's conflicts of interest all over college football now, for ESPN, for everybody. And I'm just always interested, like, inside, how do you guys handle this?
Yeah, well, the way we approach it at Fox Sports, and I can't speak of how ESPN, handles their business, is, we're here for the love of the game, and we're here for the game and the sport of it. So this is obviously an element of it. We're not going to go overboard about it, but it has to be brought up. Yeah. It's ongoing. It's unfortunate if you're in the Harbaugh family that you have to go through this, that you have to miss this, but also, it certainly feels like something went on in this program where, some punishment needs to be handed out. We will have the biggest audience we've ever had this year, and we have a 3-hour show starting at 9 a.m. Eastern tomorrow. So each, you guys know how it is. Each 15-minute window or 10-minute window, whatever you want, the crowd grows and grows and grows in the audience. So there'll be people who are watching from the beginning, and they're probably going to say, and they're going to be Michigan fans saying, like, enough of the Harbaugh stuff already. But
You
it's our responsibility that when this new group comes in at the top of the next hour, that, hey, we have to remind them, oh, by the way, my mom and dad right now, will be hanging out in Lakewood Ranch, Florida, and they're going to be going, the coach Harbaugh guy's not there. Why is that? I have to remind them. So, so the hardcore fan is going to be annoyed. The new fans that are coming in, under the tent, we have to kind of tell them what's going on and how that may or may not impact this game. I think it's going to impact the game. I think it impacted Michigan positively the first 2 weeks, where it was kind of an us against them mentality. And obviously they're wearing their t-shirts and they feel like they've been wronged. But, with the fact that last week that Michigan and Harbaugh backed off and they accepted this 3-game suspension and then immediately fired a linebacker coach, I think that takes some of that motivation off the table a little bit. And I think to the naked eye, to the outsider, it says, oh, something was amiss.
Something wasn't right.
And there were repercussions. Otherwise they wouldn't, they would have fought it if there wasn't some type of evidence that was brought to them. So I think it loses some of that energy in the locker room, if you will, right? It was big time there. Penn State 2 weeks ago, it was, man, I don't want to be in blue and white because Michigan is coming out and we've been misjudged and we've been given a bad hand and we've been wronged and we're going to take it out on you guys. And even a little bit of that carried over with Maryland. I don't think that exists this week. I think that hand has been played and now it's just nothing but Michigan and Ohio State.
All right, before you go, I promised Nick, who's a huge soccer fan, that he could get in a one question about the U.S. men's national team and your world. What you guys
no bowling questions, Nick. You want to go to soccer? Okay. No problem.
I'll stick with the soccer, which it's so funny. Every time we talk about it on the show, you should see JP's face. He's like completely like, I have zero idea what you were talking about.
I love it.
Nick? Can we talk to your producer? Can we just freeze his screen over there?
I'm going to the bathroom.
I was going to say I'm the producer, so I could get him out of here.
Rowdies.
Yes. Yeah, I'll start with stick with the U.S. men's national team, obviously, because we're coming off the World Cup, which I'm sure was a crazy experience being over there. At a different time of the year, different country than we're used to seeing a World Cup being played and all that, but. So they make it. I go straight to Greg Berhalter because I think he's like the most divisive figure I think I've probably ever seen in U.S. soccer from a fan standpoint of where you stand with him. And the winning percentage says one thing. I guess the way they play says another. They make this decision to bring him back. Are you confident that one, he's going to stick out through this cycle until we get to 2026, and if he'll have this team ready to play then?
I am confident he'll make it through the cycle. If he doesn't, it's because the Copa America this summer will have been an absolute bust from the U.S. standpoint. I'm totally good with him. He's a highly intelligent individual. He would have been brought back as a head coach if there had not been that entire Reina fiasco.
Right.
I personally don't understand the divisiveness that he has created. This guy cares about his country. He cares about his team. He works his tail off. He's an intellectual, the things he does off the field about trying to get himself better, to be a better coach and make a better program and make it into a type of family, to me has been nothing but positive. I don't know what the American soccer fan wants. Correct me if I'm wrong. We don't have any Messis on our team. And God, I wish we could find one. We have what we have. And, I wish we had more offense as well, but good Lord, that's been the case for the last couple decades with this U.S. men's national team. So I'm at peace with Greg Berhalter and the U.S. men's national team. And, here we sit, Nick, 2.5 years away from the World Cup coming back to our shores. And the World Cup in 2026, I can't undersell this, is going to be the biggest sporting event our planet has ever witnessed. And it's going to be right here on our shores. And there's going to be games, not too far away from the Tampa Bay area. It is just going to be absolutely massive. JP may even have to talk about it, but he's got 2.5 years to get himself ready. Nick, you can coach him up. I'll be happy to jump on.
I'm there every 4 years. It's the in-between stuff.
Have you ever been to a World Cup game, JP? I'll ask you that.
Yes, I went to 94 when my wife was from Dublin. So I was at Ireland, Netherlands in Orlando. It was the greatest. One of the greatest sporting events I've ever attended. It was 1-0, and I loved it. It was fantastic. Crazy.
There's nothing like going to a World Cup game. Whether
I honestly, I love the World Cup.
Yeah, whether you're a soccer fan or not, if you just respect athletics and big time events, find yourself to a World Cup game, and it doesn't matter who you go with,
right,
and what teams you're seeing. Just go, and to feel that nationalistic pride and how much it matters. It's such an unusual and amazing event.
I watched every minute you were on during the World Cup, my friend.
I will give him that. JP was into the World Cup this year. He was invested.
Our fan, yes.
Yeah.
Well, listen, Rob, so awesome to have you on, man. Really appreciate you taking the time. Have a great show tomorrow. We'll be watching. It's going to be fun. Maybe we'll get you on again to talk some more Florida State getting back into the picture. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Thanks, buddy.
Great,
Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it.
See you next, CJP.
Yeah, see ya. Thanks, man. Say hi to Lynn and the family.
Will do.
Yeah, I don't have to tell him to promote all his stuff because everybody knows where to find him. Thanks, Rob. Appreciate it. No, hey, tell everybody where you can get your content. No, I think we know. It's on Fox at noon, right? You don't want to be hard to find. All right, well, that was a fun conversation. He's such a good dude, and as I mentioned, Channel 44 to his wife, Lynn Carson. I worked with her for many years at Channel 8. Rob lived in the Tampa Bay area, of course. Now has to live in LA. Trust me. I want to tell any of his secrets, but he loves Tampa Bay.
And no lie whatsoever. And no lie whatsoever. Not saying this just because we're fortunate to have him on, but I'm team Big Noon Kickoff. The more I've watched it lately,
yeah,
I've come around to that show. I was not sure at first. I was like, how are we going to compete with College Game Day? That's the holy grail. But now I find myself, I put both on. Yeah, and I enjoy it. I
really have a hard time with Urban. But there's some people in College Game Day. I have a hard, I'm over McAfee, man. I'm over McAfee. Keep your shirt on. Well, I have no problem with McAfee. I actually hate that they got rid of David Pollack.
Yeah, David Pollack was the smartest guy on that show, in my opinion, and I still can't figure out why he was let go. Yeah, cannot understand it.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple. They wanted McAfee. They saw his followers. They wanted to get him involved. And who was going to leave? It wasn't Herb Street. It wasn't, can't get rid of Reese Davis. Desmond ain't going anywhere. Lee Corso was Lee Corso. But, it was that was process of elimination right there. So, but the McAfee thing, look, I loved McAfee when he first came out. But to me, this is sellout McAfee. It's complete sellout McAfee. I'm not here for it. And there's a fine line between being that blue collar guy but it's like you're not. I don't know. It's worn thin on me. I don't know how you guys are out there. Hit us up in the comments. But I think that his act is worn thin. I don't know what the numbers are. I haven't seen what the numbers are on his shows, but they must be good because they're putting him in everything. They're putting him in freaking everything. They're giving him his own show on college, his own channel for the big games, him and his crew. I don't know.
I mean, I respect what the guy does. To have to be like that 24/7 essentially on all these shows, I mean, I do respect the hustle. I mean, I don't think any more guys in media hustle more than that dude.
I definitely respect the hustle, but it just,
I mean, he's just, you either you like him or you don't. I mean, he's just that kind of guy.
Well, at first it was a kind of a blue collar, everyman type of.
It was a breath of fresh air to sports media.
And now it feels like it's, he's become a parody of himself. You can cross that line very easily, and it's all subjective. I mean, and if you like him, good on you.
It's kind of like with commentating, a lot of people love Gus Johnson, right? And rightfully so. I love Gus Johnson too.
I love Gus Johnson too.
But you know what? Sometimes there's okay, now I kind of want to hear Joe Buck. Yeah. And they're completely different. And I know Joe's very divisive, but sometimes I kind of like the difference in it, if that makes sense. Joe Buck is so different than a lot of other announcers because he's kind of even keel. And sometimes I want to hear that.
Very minimalistic. Very minimalistic. Right. Sometimes too minimalistic for me. But yeah, it's all about your acquired taste. But Gus, I've always been a big Gus Johnson.
I love Gus and Joel Klatt are money. They are.
Well, Joel's like an FSU hater. I don't know. He's a West Coast honk. So I guess, but there's a lot of East Coast honks. I guess you need that to balance it out.
That's Colin Cowherd's daddy now. Come on.
Yeah, right. Yeah, all of them.
That's the best segment on sports television every week. Is Klatt on Colin's show.
Yeah, they get after it.
He gets after it because he checks Colin every single time.
He does. He does.
It's great.
I tell you what, though, I would, first of all, I'd love to see FSU make a run. Just obviously as my team. But, a nice little parting gift of that would be seeing Colin Cowherd and Joel Klatt and and Kirk Herbstreit, who has now joined the anti-FSU party. I just don't get it. It's like Washington's resume, like Rob said, is way better. I'm going to say way better than FSU's, but it's better than Michigan's. It's better than Ohio State's, by the way.
I'll just say that, like before we move on, we got to hit a break here in a second, but I'll finish up with this point here about the FSU. I'm not going to debate you on Washington's resume, okay? They have the best resume in the country. What I will say is I find it interesting that there's a lot of people who are quiet of the fact that they were in a very close game at home against Arizona State, and they were in a very close game against, Stanford, I believe. And they've played a lot of close games this entire year. And again, good teams find a way to win. But that's my problem is when Washington wins, it's, man, they found a way to win. And that's what great teams do. When they need to play, they do it. Well, FSU's won 8 of their 11 games by 17 points or more.
Exactly.
And the 3 teams, Boston College, Miami, and Clemson, that they won by less than that, all those 3 teams are bowl eligible and are going to bowl games. And Clemson's playing good football and they're ranked. And that was on the road in conference. Like, there's context to all these things. But when it comes to that, it's like, well, FSU didn't look impressive enough. They don't use the same rhetoric with FSU, where it's like, man, good teams find a way to play good. Like, they ignore the fact that FSU plays really good football in the third and fourth quarter all the time.
Right.
They conveniently ignore that. They conveniently ignore how their defense has been one of the best defenses in college football all season long. It's just, I don't understand the rhetoric of it, is my thing.
Let's hit a break. When we come back on the other side, I want to talk about, who's good and who's not good, because these conferences have become so incestual that they never go outside their conference, especially the SEC. And you can look all over college football. There should be more interconference games, especially early in the season, so we can get a feel on which conferences are good, because when teams just beat up on each other, you don't know. Like the Pac-12, a lot of these teams look good because they score points. Well, maybe that's because nobody plays defense in the Pac-12. Okay,
outside of Oregon.
Right, outside of Oregon. Right. So let's get into that mix again, and let's start looking at some of these the few interconference games that we have to make some of these determinations on which conferences are good or which conferences are bad. And during the break, if you want to look up what's the best out-of-conference win for the SEC, keep looking. Same for the Big Ten. Keep looking. So, yeah, let's go when we come back. All right, we're brought to you by the great folks at The Patio. Great place to watch the FSU Florida game. We got a huge watch party coming up on Saturday. In fact, come down early, get your seat, get your table, because it's going to be packed at The Patio. Come join us for a great party. Florida State, 7 o'clock. And, of course, big noon. Get there early for that Michigan-Ohio State game. It's The Patio, 421 South McDill in South Tampa. Great place to watch these games with all this great weather outside. Stay with us. Tired of those stuffy, overpriced sports bars? Well, come join the fun at The Patio in South Tampa and watch your favorite football teams under the stars in a tropical paradise. It's a unique setting with huge wood decks beneath the trees, and don't worry, they have an inside AC bar with all your favorite bar games as well. The Patio has all the NFL and UFC sports packages. It's home to the Tampa Gator Club and the Bills Mafia, but all fans are welcome. Hey, my FSU buddies love to watch the Noles at The Patio. It's also home to a great happy hour weekdays. $5 White Claw vodka and $5 White Claw seltzers. $1 off all beer and wine from 3 to 7:30 off their already low prices. And every Friday happy hour, join us for Football Friday. It's our live broadcast from 5 to 7 o'clock with tons of specials. The fan mic for you to join the show. We'll have some swag and some ticket giveaways and more. So come out for the live broadcast 5 to 7 every Friday at The Patio and come watch football in a tropical paradise. 421 South McDill, just a few blocks south of Kennedy. Everyone meets at The Patio. Hey, the holidays are almost here, so take advantage of our layaway offer at the Gold and Diamond Source. Reserve your favorite piece now and pay in easy installments, making your holiday shopping stress-free. And engagement season is here as well, and we've got the largest selection of engagement rings, so visit us to find that perfect ring for that special moment. Looking for financing options? How big a ring can you get when we give you 3 to 5 years interest-free financing to make your dream jewelry more affordable? So this November, make sure you choose the Gold and Diamond Source for jewelry that's always stylish and unique, because your special someone deserves something to be thankful for, right? Find the perfect gift at the Gold and Diamond Source. Don't settle for factory-made imitations, folks. Make sure it's a Gold and Diamond Source diamond for a truly special piece of jewelry. It's the best folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub at the Gold and Diamond Source, 4800 Ulmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Gold & Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Gold & Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Gold & Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure Sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show, brought to you by the Geddes Gordon Real Estate Group. Jane Geddes, nobody like Jane. So if you need to sell your house or you're looking for a home, it is the best place to go. They're great folks. You become part of the family when you choose the Geddes Gordon Group as part of your real estate decisions. And we're looking to invest. That's something else they do a lot, do very, very well. They've got lots of investment programs. So if you got some money sitting around, you want to take it out of the market, put it into real estate, maybe not a bad idea. They will have some great options for you. So go to the GettysGordonGroup.com and tell them JP sent you. Hope Jane and the family had a great Thanksgiving, as many of us did. We've done the resort tour over here at Disney, went to all the different hotels and checked out all the decorations, taking the boats around Disney, doing a whole bunch of Disney stuff. Went to Busch Gardens on Thursday with my lovely daughter Shay. We rode. I went on the cheetah chase or the cheetah, whatever the hell
cheetah
that thing
hunt
is,
or whatever it is.
I'm not much of a roller coaster guy anymore, as you get older, the brain gets a little looser, but she talked me into it and I loved it. Most of it of what I saw. And then we did a couple of the,
Are you an eye closer?
Oh no, I would never do that. I would never get to the high parts and close my eyes. I would never do that.
Interesting.
Yeah. And then we did Cobra's Curse, and yeah, that's a really good one. If you're like some people don't like the really big drops, then the Cobra's Curse is a really good one for you. It's just super fast, and it's super fun. That was a fun.
Goes backwards, sideways. Yes. It goes everywhere.
Yeah, that is fun. That is really, you'll like that one. If you're a mid roller coaster and you're just want to push it a little bit, that's a good one for you. So we did that, and then we did Palmacia yesterday for the buffet. Oh my God, smoked turkey. The smoked turkey with the herb and whatever. They have two different stuffings: a sausage stuffing and then the herb something stuffing, which was amazing. Plus the cranberry and the smoked turkey and the giblet gravy. Put it all together. Man, that's just magic.
Well, let me tell you what my
magic.
Let me tell you what my family. Let me tell you what the stunt they pulled. And let me preface this. I still am very fortunate the fact that, because a lot of people don't have a family, to be around for Thanksgiving, so I'm very understanding of that, and the fact that I get a meal provided, all those things. I'm going to say that right now. That being said, I showed up yesterday, and I always look around the food. I like to survey what's going on, and things are looking a little different yesterday. And it didn't look like Grandma's dishes. Let me put it like that.
What's going on?
And I asked him, I said, what is all this? And I was told that we apparently catered everything from Cracker Barrel for Thanksgiving. And I immediately was like, I just gave a blank stare. I'm like, you're joking, right? We got everything from Cracker Barrel? I said, nothing in here is homemade. Nothing. And that's what I was told. And I'm like, and then I opened up the turkey, which had been carved, and I don't see any dark meat. And I turn around and I look at my mom. I said, where's the dark meat? She goes, there is no dark meat. I'm like,
you didn't order dark meat?
I'm like, that's the best part of the turkey.
Yeah.
Is the dark meat.
It's the moist part.
Oh, exactly. I'm looking around. I'm like, what is going on here?
Yeah.
What is going on here? And we're having to warm up mac and cheese, and we're warming up mashed. I'm like, what is going on? I said, I just we've lost the plot around here. Again, very fortunate again. But I'm just saying, Cracker Barrel, I mean, it was a little better than I thought it was going to be. I'll say that.
I bet it was good.
It was good. I was just, I was just a little.
Not the same.
I was expecting, my Nana's, mashed potatoes and my Nana's mac and cheese and my cornbread. I was.
So Nana capitulated, huh?
Yeah, I sound so privileged. I looked at Nana. I said, "What's going on here?" And she goes, "It wasn't my idea."
Oh yeah, she wasn't down with it. Yeah.
But it was still fun.
Yeah, I don't know. See, here we used to make lasagna and meatballs and all, and I love making it. But if if I don't have the kids around to make it with me, and that's part of the whole process. It's the family part of it, right? Then what's the point of doing it? Plus, Ashley and the kids aren't big meatball fans, so I'm like, let's just go to the buffet and just enjoy. The kids don't eat a lot of different stuff, so they can have whatever they want. I'll get whatever I want. Ashley gets whatever. So it's beautiful, and there's no mess, no cleanup, and it's probably more affordable than actually cooking yourself now and going to the grocery store. I mean, that's just ridiculous. Yeah, going to the grocery. So whatever. I'm good with it. Less work. Go hit a few balls at the club. Putt around a little bit. It's a good day. Hang out by the pool. Beautiful day. Yeah, that was a good couple of days for me. So we got away and you went to the mountains too. So you got to enjoy some of the Smoky Mountain National Park, all that good stuff, or wherever that was.
Hell yeah. I walked down Gatlinburg, which by the way, $20 to park in Gatlinburg is asinine.
Yeah.
Asinine, because I only spent an hour and a half there, and I'm like, wow, I really got ripped off, didn't I?
Yeah.
But there's this place there called the Old Mill. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of it.
Oh yeah.
And I made sure we went there. I got myself my fried chicken. I got my collards.
Oh yeah.
Got my corn fritters. I did all that. I went to the Applewood. I did all these things. So
I've been going to Gatlinburg, and I don't go much anymore. But we went. We used to do a camp in Tennessee, summer camp in Tennessee when I was a kid. I went there 7 or 8 summers in a row, and we'd always, parents come pick you up. They take you. We'd always go through Gatlinburg. And that was one of the original tourist towns in the mountains way back when. And I'll be honest with you, it ain't changed much. The taffy stores on downtown Gatlinburg, the stupid old photos that you go in and they put you in the old West garb, which is fantastic. You got to get one of those. Got to have one of those hanging on the wall. So yeah, do all that stupid tourist stuff, but it's a beautiful area.
I also did the moonshine tasting. It's the first time I've been there since I was
never
21.
Done that. Never done that.
I finally got to do the moonshine tasting, and there's this one called the Blue Flame. that they have, and it's 128 proof. And for the life of me, I don't understand.
Yeah, you now have a hole in your stomach for the rest of your life. So
right. I bought 2 moonshines. I bought a blackberry, which was 40 proof, a lot easier to tolerate.
Yeah.
And it's called Mountain Java. It's like a coffee type moonshine.
Ooh,
that was
nice,
amazing. So
right.
Good trip. But you know what I was going to say real quick, it'd be really cool though tomorrow in an alternate universe. And this is what I hate about college football is USF and UCF should be playing tomorrow with both teams looking at bowl eligibility.
That's right.
That should be going on tomorrow, but it's not.
That is what I hate about these new conference alignments more than anything else. How you lose a USF UCF rivalry, but if both teams win,
they could play each other.
Win, what a great bowl matchup!
And I'm up for it. And in the Gasparilla, maybe.
My God, they would be stupid not to. I don't know what their conference affiliations are. I mean, we need to get rid of that stuff. By the way, nobody cares anymore. They need to make that game happen. They need to make that game happen.
Both teams need to win tomorrow first.
Yeah. First, if USF doesn't beat Charlotte tomorrow at home with bowl on the line, my God, come on. I mean, this is a must. And, guys, and I've been, saying it for a couple of weeks. Let's get out there and support your team. It's going to be tough, though. It's a night game now, same time as Florida State.
You saw Golish challenge the fan base.
Yeah.
Pretty good this week.
Well, he did it last week and did it this week. And, it's Thanksgiving, so I'm not sure if a lot of people are paying attention. But, yeah, this fan base needs to come out. But will they? No, they won't. They won't.
We'll see what happens.
I don't have any.
I like the way he put it. He goes, it's Thanksgiving week. None of y'all are working. What else are y'all doing? I saw him put it out there. I'm sure the tickets are really cheap to go.
Yeah.
I mean, and he's like, yeah, guys, you got to. And I like what he said. I mean, he's so in tune with the program and what they need to do. And he was like, hey, let's show these recruits who we are.
Exactly.
Like, that's the part of this. And let's also have a good atmosphere for these seniors. And I like the way he speaks. I love it.
No, I do too. I've been very impressed by him. As soon as he took the gum out of his mouth, he's been fantastic ever since.
You and the gum.
I love he gave this great answer to Peter's question last week about the process and the journey and all these things. He hit on all the major themes of his program. And, he's really big on making guys the best that they can be, and not only just in football, but in life. Let's wake up and do everything correctly. Let's do it the right way. If you're going to do it, don't do it half-assed. Be the best that you can be. And he hit on all the great themes. I'm like, wow, it's a great message. Is anybody listening? Because that's a great part. But if you go out there and there's 10,000 people in the stands and in a 70,000 seat Super Bowl stadium, it looks like crap. It's almost impossible to recruit against the big boys when that's your atmosphere. I don't care what else you do, how many facilities you build, how many on-campus things you do, how much money you give them in the NIL. When they're going to other places, and I'm not just talking about Florida State and Florida, I'm talking about Liberty. I'm talking about Coastal Carolina. I'm talking about other places that have a hell of a lot more fans. Their fan base is energized.
And forget the Alabama game and all that. This is the biggest USF game in the last 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. You got to build momentum and get those extra practices and to be the recruiting advantages that you get for going to a bowl game. This is absolutely a must win for them. But more than a must win, it's got to be an atmosphere. And I know they don't want me talking about this, but your quarterback is going to be at the top of the list of every team in America that needs a quarterback. All right, and these big programs. Not every team.
I don't know about that yet. I'll say there's going to be 20 to 25 Power 5 programs that are going to make a run at Byron Brown. There's no question about that. I know. I just think, as long as the NIL can step up and and get it done, I think this is
but if somebody's
a great
offering
spot
him to go play in a Power 5 conference place where they have tons of fans and there's energy in the building and it's a great collegiate atmosphere, the kid would be a fool not to look at it. A bigger platform and a bigger conference, more TV.
I get it. I get it. And I'm a big
USF fans. Don't get mad at me. It's not nothing that these agents aren't talking to him about that are in his ear. Trust me, it's not. This is all obvious stuff. So don't. I'm not campaigning.
I get what you're saying.
Get your ass to the game and make it easier for him to stay.
I get what you're saying. I'm just saying I love Byron Brown. I've been on his train ever since I saw him in that UCF game last year and how he willed USF back into that game. Byron Brown still needs work. Okay, there's still more to his game, I think, that is yet to be unlocked. I think USF is a great place to play for Byron Brown. You're with an offensive head coach, a very explosive offense. You figure that the talent is going to continue to get better next year. I don't think he's at that level yet, personally, to move on to like a big Power 5 program. I guess it depends on the school and the coach and all that, but I think USF's a great spot for him. I really do.
I do too. I think it's a fantastic spot for him. But they need to make it better. They need to make it more attractive on game day. All right, quick check in here on the comments. Jeremy Lowe, yeah, that's not happening, buddy. Says, I love you, JP, but Knowles are losing to my Gators tomorrow. Not with that defense, bro. If you had Mertz, I would at least it would be a shootout offensively without him. I don't see it, but could be wrong. Crazy things happen in the swamp. James says, I hope Oregon State beats Oregon. Oregon beats Washington, so Coward can cry no West Coast team in the playoff. The trashing of FSU because of ACC crumbling around them is despicable. Booger, only one who defends FSU. Thank you, Booger. And again, look at the SEC record against the ACC. It's probably going to end up being 9-3 towards the ACC. I mean, but we're sitting here, so the two SEC teams get in. Again, if you're beating up on each other, how good are you at the top and at the middle and at the bottom? I mean, I'll put the ACC. We're talking about North Carolina, Miami, Clemson. You want to go try to beat Clemson at home? It ain't easy. I mean, Boston College, as you mentioned, are bowl eligible. There's some teams in the ACC that North Carolina's got the
Louisville, obviously.
Louisville, obviously. I'm not saying it's the best conference, but people act like it's the freaking Ivy League. Come on. These are good wins that FSU is piling up. And by the way, they beat LSU handily.
And by the way, too, the Big Ten, like, depends. I mean, you have Michigan and Ohio State, obviously. Penn State just can't beat Michigan and Ohio State. They don't match up well with those teams.
Penn State's
but
awful.
Outside of, I wouldn't say they're awful. But listen, my point
they can't
is,
score. Nick, they can't score.
I know that. My point is,
the forward pass is a challenge for them.
I
North
get that.
North Carolina would run them out of the building.
My point with Penn State, my point with those three teams is that after those three teams, what is the Big Ten?
Nothing. It's the Ivy League. It's awful.
Like next year, the Big Ten is going to be really good. But for right now, the Big Ten, to me, is being held up by those two programs. And James had a comment up here. I can't find it, but I remember what he said here about everyone's talking about the Notre Dame victory for Ohio State and how great that win looks. And yes, going into South Bend is a big deal, okay? But Notre Dame, as he pointed out, also got beat out the building by Louisville. They also got beat out the building by Clemson. Right. And yet people still want to say the LSU victory doesn't look as good as it used to be. But what about the Notre Dame victory? I still think beating LSU and their offense and Jaden Daniels, who's probably going to win the Heisman, holding him to his worst game of the year, that still means something to me on a neutral field. It's the way they talk about all of it. So, again, I know we've talked about it a lot today about
and Michigan has scheduled nobody in their non-conference. Ohio State. Look, Notre Dame's an average team, and Clemson beat Notre Dame. But if Ohio State beats Notre Dame, it's a big deal, right? But if Clemson beats Notre Dame, it's not. Louisville beats Notre Dame, it's not. It's just the way the ACC is looked at. But look at the numbers.
Well, does this kind of prove though why?
I know it's Wake Forest beating Vanderbilt in one of those wins, but it's also FSU beating LSU. It's also Miami beating the brakes off of Texas A&M. Hanging in. And
I guess this proves
beat by North Carolina. South Carolina leads Georgia at the half. I mean, come on.
I guess this proves, JP, that for things to change going forward, FSU's going to have to get in a different conference.
Exactly.
I think that's kind of what we're going towards at this point.
Yeah. James says Byron Brown will make more NIL at a Power 5. Yeah, he will. And they say that he's got a great deal at USF, and I hope he does. No, Michigan does not belong, William Hester. They don't. Look at theirs. Look at their schedule. Ridiculous. Yeah. So I this weekend's going to tell a lot. There's a lot of consternation going on, but listen, as far as FSU goes, they got to take care of their business.
Oh yeah.
They got to take care of their business. And I'll probably look stupid on here squawking about them if they go out and lose, but I'm saying first and foremost, they have to take care of their business. But all this rhetoric that's been going on by some of these folks, I think, is just foolhardy. It's an old school mentality. The Big Ten is the best, is a great conference. No, it's not. Not this year.
I'll say this,
though.
It's
not even that good. Alabama and Georgia are pretty good. LSU
it's top heavy.
Those three teams are good. I mean, I don't think Ole Miss, are they that good? I mean, they got boat race by Georgia.
Ole Miss is 10-2 is always going to be impressive, and they've only done that twice in like over 100 years. But Ole Miss against good teams seems to fold.
Yeah.
I will say this though, I think regardless of what happens, like if FSU gets into the number 4 and they run the table and go undefeated, I think it ends right there though, because I don't know if anybody's beating Georgia again, JP, and that's going to end up being what's happened. I would agree with that. You want to give yourself a chance. You still got to play the game, but the way Carson Beck is playing, all of a sudden, Georgia to me is the team to beat.
Yeah, Georgia's the number 1 team. I think they're, if there's one team I wouldn't want to play if I'm FSU, it's Georgia. Any other team doesn't scare me as far as FSU goes.
I still think Oregon, man. If Oregon gets into that playoff, you watch out.
Yeah, I agree. But, they've got a couple of tough games ahead of them.
They got to beat Oregon State today.
And then they got to beat Washington.
They're going to, if they redeem their win over Washington, they're going in.
Yeah, I think they should.
And I think they are one of the best 4 teams. I still think they are.
Now, with the one loss Oregon team against, if FSU runs the table, again, let me see who are the other teams. Georgia, okay, fine. Alabama, I'm not
here. Even if Alabama beats Georgia, I'm sorry, but head-to-head has to matter. And there's no way if Texas wins out that Alabama can jump Texas. There's just no way.
Should not be.
I'm sorry. Head-to-head has to take precedent over that. Even if no SEC team gets in, I know that's unfathomable for people to come to grips with. I don't care if Alabama beats Georgia. They lost to Texas, and if Texas wins out, I'm putting Texas in if some of these scenarios happens over Alabama because they won head-to-head at Alabama. They out-physicaled them.
Yeah. And that's the thing. It's like you start digging in on the SEC and how good they've been this year. Not very good. I mean, Missouri wrecked the conference, and Missouri almost lost to Florida.
Yeah, and Missouri's being a little overhyped because why are they in front of Louisville?
I don't know. Because they beat up on these teams that, it's the SEC. They beat up on it. Okay. Who are they really beating? It's hard when you don't have a lot of interconference games to look at. You just don't know, right? You can look at possible NFL players on rosters and go, this is a really good team, but if they're not putting it together and they're not playing well, you're not a good football team, So we'll learn a lot this weekend. No question about it. That's going to be a huge part of it. One quick Rays note here as Jeremy Lowe jumps in and says, Tyler Glasnow on the verge of getting traded soon. Braves, Cubs, Brewers, I heard, are all involved. They're going to trade Tyler Glasnow? I thought you said that wasn't going to happen, Nick. You're going to keep Tyler Glasnow at $25 million? They're going to have a $120 million payroll, according to the Times.
The Glasnow thing is – there's 2 sides to this. Let me walk you through it. One of them is Tyler Glasnow is very injury prone. We can all agree there.
Don't get me wrong. I want.
What's the likelihood of Tyler Glasnow making it through a full season? It probably is slim. That being said, you're already taking on That being said, you're already taking on next year, knowing that you're going to be without Shane McClanahan. We'll see if Springs is going to be ready by spring training. Rasmussen obviously is going to miss a chunk of the season, and you've got some other options there that are not as battle tested as some of these other guys, like a Glasnow. So it's like, in my opinion, if you're trying to win next year and be better than you were last year, already knowing that you're punching, depending on what goes on with Wander Franco, obviously, not having McClanahan, trading your next best ace, that's a tough one to swallow as a Rays fan, I think. But at the same time, again, $25 million, it's 2 sides of it. It's like, number one, if you can't pay somebody $25 million, then you probably shouldn't be owning a baseball team. But also, Tyler Glasnow's situation is very unique. It's very unique because of the injury history.
Wait till you see what they get for him.
Either we're getting
Pirates GM out there,
and they've done this twice. They've traded Chris Archer, and they got the great return, and then they traded Blake Snell, and they got the return that didn't work out. So,
and I don't see him getting a lot for Glasnow because of the injury concerns.
I don't think it's going to be people think. I really don't.
No, it's not going to be much at all. Because these teams, why would you? And let's be honest, the Rays, and they know the Rays don't want to pay him, and they're not going to pay him. So that for them, it's like, we'll wait, But the only thing is, the Braves, Dodgers, Cubs, they're all hungry, they got money to spend. They don't care.
The thing is, it depends how desperate these teams are going to get. Because I think all the teams you're mentioning, they're going to first and foremost make a run at Ohtani.
Right.
And then they're going to make a run at this Yamamoto who just got posted.
Yeah.
I think, and then obviously Blake Snell as well. So I think that's why I don't know if this is going to come like immediately. I think you're going to have to wait for those 3 chips to fall, and then we'll see who's desperate to go get what would then be the best starter available theoretically in Tyler Glasnow.
And here's a scenario I want you guys to think about, because listen, the Rays have done a great job in the past five years. There's no question about it. But if you go back and look at their history, especially spending $70 million a year with this ownership group, okay, they're in for a downturn, and it looks like it's coming soon. So while this ridiculous stadium is being built, if it is built in St. Petersburg, and you're spending $1.2 billion of public money, and this team goes into the tank for a few years while it rebuilds.
Well, I don't think they're going in the tank. I mean, they still have a lot of young talent here. And if Junior Caminero turns out to be what we think he's going to be, I mean, you've got a star on your hands there. Cross your fingers for whatever happens with Wander Franco. I mean, the team on paper next year in their lineup, if all this blows over, we'll see. And Caminero's in your lineup every day next year, and he's that player. I mean, that changes a lot when it comes to your lineup. Well, and the Rays always find a way how to pitch. Yeah. So I don't think they're on a downturn.
They always have, but at some point there's going to be a correction. Cash's first 3 years were not good, and you're going to go through a cycle of that while you rebuild and build up some stars, and then trade them again to get some other good young players. It's going to be tough in this division. I'm just saying, chances are, baseball is cyclical, that you have a downturn while this stadium is being built. And there's going to be about 2,000 people at Tropicana Field, and we're going to be looking at putting that stadium up going, oh, my God, what have we done?
Did you fill your survey out, by the way? Right. They sent a large survey out.
Yes, I got to get to that.
I couldn't even fill it all out. I thought it was going to be like a quick survey. This survey, you have to sit down for like 30 minutes to fill this out.
All right, let's take a quick break. We're going to come back and talk a little bit about that. And also, Scott Jeeves is going to join us and talk a little trash here as the Florida Gators get set to take on your Seminoles. So we'll get a little more college football talk in. We'll hit the NFL from yesterday as well. Some interesting storylines developing there in the NFL this weekend. So stay with us. Quick break here. We are brought to you by the Gold and Diamond Source. The Black Friday sale is on, folks. Double match gift cards. Spend $500, get another $500 gift card. Buy a $1,000 gift card, get another $1,000 gift card. You can do layaway. Obviously, the best place to get your engagement ring. It is the engagement season, so why not double your money with the Black Friday gift card giveaway? Buy $500, get $500. Double your money. Give those as presents for Christmas. You will love it. It's the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Alderson Road. Always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Stay with us.
Do you have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. Hey guys, are you experiencing those feelings of getting older, lower sex drive, fatigue, hot flashes, moodiness, or you just don't feel like you had the vitality you once had? It's a chronic problem here in the United States. You're not just getting old, it's likely low testosterone. Studies over the last 20 years show a shocking decline in younger males aged 16 to 39. Older men have seen a sharp decline, as well. So do something about it. Go see my friend Christopher Lugo at Bay Area Modern Medicine. Look, testosterone replacement is not a frivolous treatment. It takes a professional, targeted approach that focuses on total body wellness, vitality, and emotional stability, not a one-size-fits-all approach like many clinics use. They will monitor your blood work and adjust your treatment as needed for optimal results. Folks, I've been on testosterone therapy for over 6 years, and it is a life changer. You will feel and look better than you did 10 years ago. Give them a call at 844-977-3477 or go to BAMMC.com. Tell them JP sent you for priority scheduling. That's 844-977-3477 or BAMMC.com. JP here for the Jeeves Law Group, Jeeves. Call for a free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES. We're local, we're trusted. The law firm brings over 80 years of combined legal experience focusing on clients in Tampa Bay, the state of Florida, and national class action cases. If you're injured, get that free case evaluation, no cost to you. The Jeeves Law Group's focus is on auto, truck, and motorcycle accidents, as well as class action and consumer protection law. Scott Jeeves is a board-certified civil trial lawyer and a certified circuit court mediator practicing in the Tampa Bay area for over 30 years. You hear him on the show all the time. Great guy, big Gator fan, and great for the community. The Jeeves Law Group is a highly skilled team with years of experience that will apply their skills, expertise, and knowledge to assist individuals who have been in an accident with compensation for damages, lost wages, medical expenses, pain and suffering, and property damage. Get that free case evaluation, 888-9-JEEVES. That's 888-9-JEEVES.
Coming back at you. Now, more with JP on FanStream Sports. It's only just begun.
All right, welcome back to the JP Peterson Show here as we roll through Black Friday, and wanted to remind you once again, it's today only at the Golden Diamond Source. Black Friday season is on, and the engagement season is on as well. So get November birthstones, citrine, and topaz. And remember, only natural diamonds. It takes billions of years to form natural diamonds. You don't want something that was made in a factory a couple of weeks ago. And this double gift card match is only today, folks. So get in there and take care of it, or get it done on the website. Buy up to $1,000 gift card, and they'll match it, giving you up to $2,000 in immediate spending power. You can do $250, you can do $100, whatever it is. They'll double the gift card match right there. So you can give two $100, give two $250s, two $500s, two $1,000 gift cards for only $1,000, right? So make your money go further. That's the way you do it. You want to spend $2,000? Great. You can buy that $1,000 gift card. Get another $1,000 gift card to get away, and only on Black Friday. So make it happen today. 3800 Almerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com. And we thank them so much, Julie and Steve Weintraub, for their continued support of this program over these many, many years, and great philanthropic things they do all over town. They're always involved in all these charities, giving away things. So we really appreciate them. So as we say, on the holidays, folks, you got to spend that money. Keep it local at the Golden Diamond Source. No better way to do that. 3800 Almerton Road. All right, speaking of local, we got Scott on. Oh, yeah, he's on. He's on his way to the moon. Scott Jeeves joining us from the Jeeves Law Group. What's up, Scotty? How are you? That may not be him. That may be the Apollo moon.
No, we have him on the line. I'm on the line, but it sounds like he's in a different planet.
Are you there, Scott? Hang up, try to get him on again. See if we can do that while we're doing the show here. Try one more time. James says no Pat Burnham today. Nope, Pat was unavailable today, so we'll look forward to talking to him down the line. Yeah, this is going to be get back to the Bucs for just 1 second. Levante David, according to Rick Stroud, Levante David and Jamel Dean are out for this week. Yeah. So
and Devin probably going to be a game time decision as well.
Yeah, Devin. So could be Servassier Dennis and KJ Brett this week. Yikes! Yikes!
All right, we have Scott. Let's see if it's better.
Scott, are you there? Same. Scott Jeeves, are you there?
It still sounds muffled like that.
Can you hear me, Scott? For some reason we can't. Shoot me the number, and I'll tell him to call us and see if that works that way. Because because that would be a little bit tough on the ears. So we've got if Devin White, and I have a feeling Devin doesn't want to play this week, right? I have a feeling that Devin's foot may just be not so good. I don't know, man. I with these two guys at linebacker, and even though it's Jonathan Taylor and Gardner Minshew, and they haven't been putting up a lot of points, they're going to be looking at this as a get well game for them.
I was going to say, I mean, as much as we might not be a fan of Devin White's play, not having him or Levante David out there and having a role with Servassier Dennis and KJ Britt, that's how the Bucs find a way to lose this football game.
Right.
That's all it takes. And not having Jamel Dean, now you got to roll with probably Zion out there, who you never know which version of him you're going to get. And, they got two receivers out there. It's not a great, skilled receivers group necessarily, but Michael Pittman can play. He's been really good this year. And this rookie Josh Downs also has been really good. So they got some pieces on that Colts offense. And that's why that they've still managed to be 5-5 at this point with Gardner Minshew. So it just seems like everything's shaping up to be a game that it's not as easy for the Bucs as you might have thought it was going to be. Yeah.
And by the way, great place to watch the game. The patio on Sunday will be beautiful, beautiful weather. So go on down there and the outdoor bar or the indoor bar, and the Florida State game tomorrow night at 7:00. You can also watch the USF game at the same time against Charlotte, all the big games that are going on. Get there early tomorrow because it will be packed. You want to get a great table, get a great seat at the bar, enjoy all the specials that'll be going on tomorrow at the patio. So go check it out. Great place to watch the Florida State game. We might be there tomorrow. I think I might be hanging out watching the game there. We'll see. All right, we got Scott on.
I had him, but he actually hung up on me there because I couldn't answer the phone while we were on.
We'll try it again. Tell him
to call me one more time if you can, real quick.
Right, I will do that.
And we'll see if it's still muffled on his end.
Yeah. Technology today.
I spoke to him in the break and everything was fine. And then we got on here and I'm like, well, what is that?
Maybe we have a setting that's screwed up. I don't know. Maybe he said he called in.
All right, let's try one more time here with Scott. Oh, still muffled.
Scotty, are you there? Scott G. Up. Yeah, I think we're having a technical issue here. All right, we'll cancel today and we'll see. We'll talk to him on Monday and get the postpartum. I'll just text him up here and say sorry, but not going to happen today. All right, so as we look forward to this weekend, my friend, let's set up some of the other games that are going on in the college football landscape. So big noon, we're going with Ohio State and Michigan. By the way, if you're an FSU fan, I think you got to be rooting for Ohio State in this one because Michigan with one loss, their resume is just going to be awful, right? I mean, that's
most likely. Yeah.
All right, so you got Oregon State tonight. You're just hoping that Oregon and Washington, either one of them, picks up another loss along the way. So, and I think that Oregon State's tonight, correct?
Yeah, that's tonight.
That's all.
I don't know. I don't think Oregon State matches up well against Oregon. I don't think too many teams do. And I just love Oregon right now. I really do. So I think Oregon's going to win comfortably tonight.
Yeah, I do too. That's where is that game, by the way? Is it in Corvallis? I think it might be there. So
that'd be crazy if they got. Oh, it's at Oregon. It's at Oregon. So
okay,
it's not in Corvallis.
Yeah. I don't think that's going to matter then. Also today, Miami Boston College at noon. So we got lots of good football going on today.
Oh, yay.
3:30 Texas, San Antonio, and Tulane, the big group of five matchup tonight. Number 7 Texas going up against Texas Tech. That'll be 7:30 tonight. So and then 8:00 is Oregon State. So a lot of good football tonight. And then tomorrow, Michigan, Ohio State at noon on Fox with the great Rob Stone, who we had on earlier. So check that out. LSU and Jaden Daniels with his final Heisman Trophy candidacy will be at Texas A&M or Texas A&M at LSU. 3:30 Auburn and Alabama. Auburn. Wow.
Lost by 21 to New Mexico State.
Yeah, that SEC is really good, isn't it? Is that their out-of-conference win? Oh, mate, it's a 21-point out-of-conference loss.
I used to say never in the Iron Bowl, but Never.
Yeah, but I mean,
This time around.
seriously, like, why are we beating up the ACC this year? Look at the SEC. Look how bad some of those losses are. Bad. I mean, Miami's bad. Texas A&M got boat raced by Miami.
I don't think Miami's a bad team. I know wins and losses, I know ultimately are all that matter, but I think Miami, in their case, I feel like I've watched them a lot. I think they're better than their record says. I really do.
All right. Also on Saturday, we got Washington State and Washington. That's at 4:00. That'll be on Fox. Then Florida State's on ESPN, the mothership, with the backup quarterbacks. Can't wait to see what Tate Rodemaker does. Then on ESPNU, you have USF and Charlotte. So for you late night degenerates, you want Fresno State and San Diego State. That'll be at 10:30.
The greatest rivalry week, is it?
What's that?
There's not these rivalry games. Like not many of them are ranked versus ranked this year.
No, they're really not. Now that you mention it, Auburn, Alabama is awful. Florida State obviously with a lot at stake, but Florida not ranked.
Yeah, Clemson, South Carolina is not ranked either. Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky's always that's a rivalry where I think that's going to be close. So watch Louisville in that one. They could be on upset alert against Kentucky.
Yeah, but let me just say this. So what if Clemson boat races South Carolina, right? Or it just wins, it beats them, and Louisville beats Kentucky. I mean, are these games? I mean, are we saying anything about the SEC? If the ACC goes 9-3, which I think it would be, or something close to that, against the SEC, what are we saying? I mean, if Georgia's going to beat Georgia Tech, we know that's going to happen. So I think that'll be their third win against the ACC. I just went quickly through all the non-conference. So does that not matter at all? The ACC is still dog crap, right? Just it doesn't matter. If
that's the way it's been perceived. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just checking. All right. So let's take another quick break here. I think we need one more quick break here, and then when we come back, I want to hit on the NFL a little bit more on the Bucs. So we should get their final injury report here before noon. So let's take another quick break. We'll come back on the other side and wrap things up for this Black Friday. And look forward to a big weekend of football. Stay with us.
Well, Fitz the mortgage guy did it again. A listener heard his ad, was going to another big bank, but called Scott Fitzgerald at American Mortgage Services of Tampa, and Fitz saved him $618 on his monthly payment. Are you kidding me? Folks, that's big money. Rates are going up, they're going down, they're going all over the place. Scott will shop your loan and save you lender fees and get the best rates. Email him, scott@amstampa.com, or call 813-294-7595. That's Fitz the mortgage guy. Lots of stuff going on right now, and these rates are going all over the place. You need somebody knowledgeable in the market that will work hard for you and get you the best deal. That's my man, Scott. He's done 3 loans for me, done thousands of loans for local folks here, works with a lot of the coaches and players in the area. He's the guy. 813-294-7595, or go to scott@amstampa.com. Have any old coins sitting around the house? Well, the Golden Diamond Source will purchase a variety of different types of coins and bullion. Their gold buying program includes sterling silver, platinum, and watches. They also accept unusual pieces that other jewelry stores do not, such as gold bars and sterling silver flatware. The list of items they do accept is far more extensive than those they don't, so check it out. While you're there, you can check out the largest collection of any family-owned jewelry store in the country, especially with summer coming to an end. The holidays are right around the corner. Never too early to start your holiday shopping, especially if you're planning on getting engaged or have any birthdays or anniversaries coming up. Come on in and find out what buying jewelry should be like with an expert staff of gold and diamond jewelry enthusiasts. And the best part, they treat you like family. And if you're worrying about price, don't. The Golden Diamond Source has something for everyone's budget. They even have a layaway. If you stop in and get your favorite piece now, you can have it paid off by Christmas. Plus, you can even finance your purchase with 0% interest for up to 5 years, and you can get a $5,000 diamond for only $83 a month. It's the greatest folks in the world, Julie and Steve Weintraub, the Golden Diamond Source, 3800 Olmerton Road, always online at thegoldendiamondsource.com.
JP here for my good friends at Italiano Insurance, and they did it again. Once again, Italiano Insurance stepping up with the best customer service. I was in a bind. My old insurance company, my auto insurance, jacked up my rates, so I called Charity at Italiano Insurance, and she stayed till 9:30 at night until she got my insurance done. And guess what? She searched all these companies for me. I didn't do the work. She did. Saved me $1,000 on my annual premium. $1,000, folks. That's real money. And that's what you get at Italiano Insurance. Great customer service. And here's another note for you, by the way, with hurricane season up. 40% of people in Florida are underinsured. That means if you have something happen during a hurricane and you need replacement costs, you're going to get 40% less than you deserve. Can't let that happen. Call the folks at Italiano Insurance and get them to help you out in both those regards. They will save you money and keep you insured properly. That's 813-877-7799. Great folks in the community, been doing it for over 60 years. Italiano Insurance, 813-877-7799.
Pure sports. JP is back on.
Welcome back.
FanStream Sports.
All right, welcome back to the Black Friday edition. Everything is BOGO here at the JP Peterson show at our store. All polos. We need to get some polos and stuff up on the website. We'll do that. In the coming year, I promise we'll have some gear of the great JP Peterson show, FanStream Sports. So we need that. We got to do that. We need to step that up this year.
You want some good news right here? I got some good news for you, non-football related, real quick.
Yeah.
From apparently Dave Mishkin has just reported that Andre Vasilevsky is in the starter's net at morning skate tonight.
Well, we had postulated that on our post-game show Wednesday night. Brian Engblom and I'm like, well, he's going to play on the road trip, right? So they're not going to – his first game back is not going to be at Colorado, a mile high. That would not be very nice. There's your first game back after, now go try to breathe a mile high and play a hockey game. All right, so we knew that was out. And the second one would be, the back-to-back against Arizona, which is, in the high school gym in Tempe. So my thought was, okay, he's going to play Friday night against Carolina and then maybe in the back-to-back against Arizona.
Yeah. And you want to know what's crazy to put in perspective about the Lightning without Vasilevsky? And I was astonished when I heard this. Through the same amount of games last year and the same amount of games so far this year, last year with Vasi, this year without, they had the exact amount of points as they did last year at this point.
Yeah.
So for everybody talking about the Lightning and the slow start and this and that, they're at the same point they were last year.
Yeah.
When they had Vasilevsky. And now here he comes. And by the way, the Lightning, I know they just had the overtime loss against Winnipeg. They're playing a lot better.
Yeah,
they're playing a lot better.
Even
right
against
now.
Winnipeg, they played well. I thought, they got behind early 2-0 in the first. Should have, freaking who was in net for them? Hellebuck was fantastic.
Yeah, he's a world-class goalie, as we know.
But the win over Boston was just
huge, and that was a fantastic game. Fantastic hockey game.
And the way they played in that game, out shooting them 46-26. And then come back in Winnipeg, by the way, very, very good team.
Very good team. Yeah.
They've won 4 in a row now, or that was their 4th win in a row. You spot them 2-0 lead and a first period that you probably should have had, a couple of goals. But that's kind of been weird for them. They just guys that even Kucherov had a couple of really good open looks. They've not been able to bury him. Points had some open looks he hasn't buried. Stamkos, a lot of guys, they're creating chances. So I thought they played well. And then the third period against Winnipeg, it was kind of both teams were trying not to make a big mistake. But I thought, Cooper was a little pissed off that there wasn't more push in that third period from the Lightning. But, again, they only gave up 8 shots. They're not giving away games in the third period like they did earlier in the year, which is good. They didn't win the game, but they didn't give it away. So they got 5 out of 6 points during the homestand. That's not bad.
And we said, just linger around, be in the chase until Vasilevsky gets back. Well, they're not just there. They're in the third spot in the Atlantic Division right now, behind Boston and behind Florida. Like, they're in a great playoff spot. And the fact of the matter is, they've played, I think, 5 overtime games, and they've lost 4 of them. So hopefully some of that starts to, even out a little bit, and you'd be on the right side of some of these results.
They're starting to win faceoffs in overtime, which is important. And they had a couple of good chances in that OT, just couldn't bury it.
Yeah, one bad giveaway.
Yeah, bad giveaway. It's in the back of your net. That's overtime. So that's the bad news. All right, as far as the Bucs go, as we mentioned, Levante David and Jamel Dean will not play. So I'm guessing Zion McCollum starts there for Dean. Looks like Carlton Davis is going to play, so that's good. But they're going to have two new starting linebackers. Looks like Servassier Dennis and KJ Britt. If Devin White doesn't play, because he's not practicing again, he's got a foot injury. And I'm just here to tell you, I don't think Devin would want to play, because he knows what it's gonna look like. So he can sit on the sideline and, if he thinks he's getting paid a lot of money this offseason,
he's got a rude awakening coming for him.
And here's the other thing. If he goes and tests the market and there's nothing there, do you want him back? Even at even at $5-6 million a year? No, I don't think he's a good player. I don't. I think he's been exposed as a one-trick pony.
I'm personally over it. I'm over it. I'm moving on. I'm checked out on Devin White. I just am. He can go prove me wrong the rest of the season, but again, I got 5 years to go off of. That ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, and maybe, and I'll give him this. Maybe he goes somewhere else, and another defense coordinator, is able to take advantage of his one-trick pony talent better than us.
And by the way, just to shut this all down, not that I think the Bucs were even entertaining it. No, I don't want Shaq Leonard. There's a reason why he is available now, midway through a season. So
yeah,
I'm good. And you have to pay him $6 million, I believe, if you bring him on.
Yeah, no way. And there's a reason why, Ryan Neal was available from Seattle, as we saw.
Always a reason.
There's always a reason. Good teams, good organizations, and I think Seattle, I would put in that group, don't give up on really good players. They don't.
Right.
So, and we got what, it was all exciting. Oh, he's PFF rated one of the best in the league. Yeah. Again,
that one's made me lose confidence in PFF just a little bit.
He's a safety that, but here's the thing. Maybe Seattle was disguising his deficiencies a lot better than the Bucs did.
Sure.
Clearly they were. They were putting him in spots where he could play well and not exposing him, not putting him in one-on-one situations with McCaffrey, like we did with Devin White. So a lot of it could be coaching, but as far as I can see, they can't get the most out of Devin White. He is not, and I'll disagree with Larry Foote. I think he is killing you, because clearly teams target him in the run game and the pass game in critical situations all the time. So, hey, maybe the Bucs will be better this week.
Yeah, I don't know about that, but we'll find out.
If they had Levante David and Servassier Dennis, I would be very confident this week. But without Levante, I
don't know about that, but it would be good to get this win and go to 5-6, and then you have Carolina on the other, and it's like you'd like to think that you could get to 6-6, and then we'll see what happens. But the Bucs' depth, I think, is the thing that's going to kill them. I think if they have to continue to start playing guys, because I think their depth is just not that great.
Because of their, they're eating up more salary cap than any team in the league.
Right.
I think I saw a stat the other day in the Times where of the 4 or 5 teams that had to eat up to $76 million, in dead money, none of those teams won more than 3 games that year.
Right.
There's a reason for that. If you're not paying experienced players, you got a bunch of rookies playing. But that's the time to find out what those guys can do. Give Yaya Diaby lots more snaps. Give Kalijah Kancey lots more snaps. Of course, they've given him as much as he can handle, so there's no problem there. But other guys, clearly Marquise Watts, we need to take a look. And at some point, they lose this game, I got to see what Kyle Trask can do. If they lose against Indy, come on. If they lose against Indy, you got to go see what Kyle Trask can do, and that's no knock on Baker Mayfield.
but Baker, though, to me has played. I think Baker's been solid. He's not a difference maker at the position, but I get that. But I think you have to.
All that you could ask him.
That would be hard. That'd be a hard move to make, and also I think they have to keep in mind that they got other holes next year, and I know that they're not like they're looking ahead at the draft or anything. but it's not set in stone. They take a quarterback in the first round, and who knows? Baker might still be here next year.
But
so
what if Kyle
there's
Trask,
no incentive in doing that, and I don't think Kyle Trask is going to be any better.
How do you know? How do you know? You said that about Brock Purdy, I'm sure. It's the seventh, Mr. Irrelevant. You don't know.
This is not the same.
How do you know? How do you know, Nick Geddes? I don't know. You don't know. I don't think he is, but I don't know. I wouldn't think Brock Purdy could be the highest rated quarterback in the NFL this year. Did you?
I rate Brock Purdy very highly.
Well, now you do, but not coming out of college.
Okay, sure. Everyone missed the boat on that. I'm just saying coming into this season.
Look at Sam Howell. I'm not saying he's great shakes, but the guy could, I mean, Tony Romo was drooling over the guy yesterday.
I'm not entertaining
how great he's going to be.
I'm not entertaining it.
So if this team's got 3 wins, you won't even put Trask in. Or it's got 4 wins the rest of the way. They lose to Indy and Carolina, you still don't want to see Trask.
Maybe, but I don't think they're going to. I don't think they're going to lose both games to Indy and Carolina. First of all,
that's not what I said. If they do, if they lose this one, you're done. You're done. 4-7.
And Todd Bowles, but at that point, Todd Bowles is just accepting. You know what? I'm done here. I'm done.
I don't care about Todd Bowles' job.
I'm just saying that those are things that matter, and he's not going to do that. He's not going to do that.
He's not going to have a choice.
And Baker hasn't played nearly to the level that you would have.
It has
Kyle
nothing
Trask
to do with
there.
Baker Mayfield. It has nothing to do with Baker Mayfield. I'm sorry. Even Baker. What if they go out and they lose a shootout to Indy and you're 4-7? All right, Baker played well. I don't care. I got to see what I got in Kyle Trask.
What happens if New Orleans loses this week? You're still a game out of the division, and you're not making that move. No. I hear you, but that's not happening. That's not happening. They are not going to just tank the season because they lose a game to Indianapolis and go to 4. It's not happening. It's not happening.
Thomas Casper agrees with you.
There's a chance. I think the Bucs, we talked about it. They need to get a true edge in the building. And if they're picking in the top 15, I go get that guy most likely. So he could still be here next year. I think he's played good enough. Baker has.
No, he has this. But again, this has nothing to do with Baker. It has nothing to do with Baker. It's all about you got to find out what you got in these other guys. And not just Kyle Trask, but all of your rookies. At some point, you go to 4-7. I mean, what are we playing for here? All right, and you lose it to Indianapolis. What are we doing? All right, great stuff, Nick. Appreciate you. Thanks to Rob Stone for jumping on with us here today. Had a great conversation with him from Fox Big Noon. So check that out. You can watch them tomorrow at 9 o'clock. If you've been watching Game Day, give Big Noon a try. You know, you might like it. It's a little different taste, but you might just like it. And Pat McAfee won't be taking off his shirt on Big Noon, I can tell you that. All right, thank you guys for joining us. Good luck to the Bolts tonight. Or when are they playing? They got tonight. They're at Carolina tonight, where they owe Carolina one. That's for damn sure. So we'll check that out. And of course, FSU will be back on Monday to wrap up all the craziness that happened over the weekend, and go Bucs as well. We'll see you then.